Hi, welcome back to my channel. I think we should first address the elephant in the room. I got my wisdom teeth removed. Yeah, it was really painful. I looked like an honorary member of Alvin and the Chipmunks for 4 days. And yeah, I do not recommend it. But now I am wisdomless. I am done once again. But also I'm blonde. In today's video, we're going to be talking about sustainable fashion, thrifting, and eco-friendly shopping practices. So if you want to be a conscious consumer and stop the cycle of fast fashion and minimize fashion waste, I would suggest buying sustainably, thrift shopping, or even upcycling clothes that you already have. Today we're going to be talking about the first two, which is buying sustainably and thrift shopping. I'm going to break this video down into several parts so it's easier for you guys to watch it, and also if you're only looking for a specific topic, you don't need to hear me ramble about everything else. So here are the categories, timestamps in the description. First, let's talk about what is sustainable fashion. Sustainable fashion is a movement where people are becoming more conscious about the clothing that they buy. That not only means buying better clothing, but it also means being conscious about where your clothing has come from and where your clothing is going to go. The fashion industry is one of the biggest pollutants in the world, and a lot of it comes down to the choices that we make as consumers. Capitalism has made us think that new clothing is something that is to be admired, and if something special happens in our life, then we need to buy clothes. And often we don't need these clothes. So if you are going to make a choice towards buying clothes, what you can do as a conscious consumer is make better choices. Shopping sustainably in India is something which is a relatively new thing. It started last year, but it has definitely snowballed, and it's caused several online websites and social medias to open up and make people aware about the choices that they're making as a consumer. I stumbled upon the sustainability resolution that brands like Westside signed in 2019 at Lakme Fashion Week. Now, this sustainability resolution on Project SU.RE is a huge step towards minimizing fashion waste and having better fashion practices. While this is a great initiative, it's definitely a step in the right direction, it does not really outline policies and legislations that would force brands into being better. It is only a nudge more than a kick, which is definitely what we need right now. While Westside signed this sustainability resolution, when I looked at the website and tried to search for clothing which was sustainable or eco-friendly, I could not find anything. Westside. Max Fashion was also one of the brands that signed the sustainability resolution. And when I turned to Max Fashion for sustainability, I found several blog posts on this thing called EcoVero, which is a eco-friendly textile which is being developed, which uses a shit ton less of water and basically is less pollutes the environment less, basically. Even though I found several blogs about EcoVero by Max Fashion, I could not find EcoVero clothing in Max Fashion, which was kind of strange. Maybe it was a seasonal thing, there was a drop and now it's not available, or I'm missing the bigger picture because I'm dumb. But I did find something else. I found Eco-Liver, which is owned by Burla Cellulose, which again is an eco-friendly fabric. So basically this fabric is being used by several brands to help reduce the fashion waste. So if you go to Max Fashion, the website, and if you search for Eco-Liver, you will find tons of clothing. So if you're looking for a sustainable option which is available both online and in stores, I would suggest going to Max Fashion and asking them for their eco-friendly line. Let's talk about a few more sustainable brands in India, one of which is Global Desi. Global Desi is really doing the most. They have an entire section of their website dedicated to sustainable fashion, and they are doing great, honestly. Global Desi is actually owned by the house of Anita Dongre, excuse my pronunciation, and all of the brands under that house is taking steps towards sustainability. They were one of the people who signed the project sustainability resolution, but they're one of the only brands that I could find actually taking steps towards having better fashion practices and having clothing there. Now for some more indie brands which may not be available in stores, but they have a booming online business. Nasties. Nasties is this incredible brand which is dedicated towards having sustainable clothing. They have some amazing products, even though they're a bit pricey for me personally as a broke college student. If you are able to afford it, I would definitely recommend buying clothing from Nasties. Some other brands which are sustainable and have an amazing online website include Bane and B-Label, and I will be having a full list. Like, I found it on Quora, and just shout out to whoever made that list. It's incredible. Thrifting is buying pre-owned or pre-loved clothing by someone else which is still in the condition that it can be owned by someone else. Thrifting has so many advantages. You leave no carbon footprint because you're not creating a new article of clothing, and you're minimizing fashion waste because instead of throwing clothing away, it's just actually going to another person. Thrifting in India can be really hard because we don't have any physical stores as far as I know. There are none in my city, there may be in others, but it's not a widespread practice. Online thrift stores are the way to go. There are two major online thrift stores which I could find. One of them is Kiabza. Now Kiabza is this gigantic Indian online thrift store where you can both buy and sell clothing. They have an amazing selection of clothing which are from brands, if that makes a difference to you, and they're usually at very heavily discounted prices. Another online store which I found is Collections Reloved. Collections Reloved is based in Bangalore, and it's another online thrift store which is pretty huge, and they have some amazing pieces. So if you're looking to buy some clothing, I would definitely suggest checking out these two online websites. Instagram thrift stores are my jam, okay? There is a huge dent in my bank account, and it's all thanks to them. I love them so much. Here are a few online thrift stores where I have bought at. Here are the handles. They are amazing. I would highly recommend checking them out, and I'll have even more Instagram thrift stores in the description down below. I understand that thrifting can be scary and pretty hard because, like online clothing, you can't see it in person, so you don't know if it's gonna fit, you don't know if it's gonna look good on you. But here are a few tips that I found out after thrifting a few times. Always ask questions about the article of clothing that you're buying. I would suggest looking at the brand of the clothing if they have a brand, and then going online and finding out what the sizing chart is for that particular brand. Even if the size is given, I would suggest, if you really want to make sure, ask them for measurements. Most of the time, thrift accounts are more than happy to answer your questions, and most of the places where I shop at, they ask you to ask questions. Secondly, don't buy clothes that you don't need. I was really eyeing some swimsuits on online thrift stores, and I sent them to my friend. She was like, "You're not going to be swimming, why do you need these?" And that's a very valid point. Don't buy clothing that you don't need. And I think this rule applies not only to thrift stores, but to all clothing. If you don't need it, don't buy it. My third tip for Instagram thrift stores is looking at the reviews. Most reputed Instagram thrift stores have a reviews highlight where you can check out what people are saying about the articles of clothing. And even though as a business person you would only post the good reviews that you have, if there are a lot, you can be pretty sure that they're legit. Now, I have never heard a story about someone getting scammed by an online thrift store personally. Me and my friends who shop at online thrift stores, I've gotten all the clothing and they look exactly like the photo. But if you've had an experience like that, please share it so people know not to buy from that store. Here are some other tips that I can give you that will hopefully make you shop more sustainably. There's this amazing app which I found. It's called Good For You or Good On You, I'm not sure, I'll put it here, where you can basically search for brands and see if they're being sustainable in their fashion practices. I think that's absolutely incredible. So if you do plan on shopping for clothing from a brand that's not marketed as sustainable, you can definitely check out their practices, because it's not only about minimizing fashion waste, it's also making sure that the laborers who make our clothing are well paid and are not being infringed on any of their rights. So that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've actually watched the entire thing, like, you deserve a prize. I would pay you if I could. But I hope this video has motivated you to shop more sustainably, and if you didn't know, giving you more options in clothing so that you can consciously be better as a consumer. Now, I also want to note that this doesn't mean that you can't shop at any store which is not being sustainable or is not a thrift store. And I'm saying, I understand, living in a country like India where our options are so limited, if you need to buy clothes, I mean, do you really need to buy? If you need to, and if you want to buy clothes from a place which is not sustainable, it's okay, you know. I just want to make sure that you went through all the options. You went through sustainable brands, thrift stores, even looking at your own closet before you make that decision. Because before, it just used to be, I want new clothes, I buy new clothes. Now I hope there are more steps towards the process in which you buy clothing, and that's all I really want, for more people to know that there are consequences to the choices that we make. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's just me sitting down and talking about fashion. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Coming to lift me up when the sun drops the world. Is it the smile on her face? Is it the sin?